Okay, so you want to be a survival instructor. Talk about a dream job. And you've even got RoleCatcher's Career Guide and Interview Guide to help prep, which is amazing. That's the kind of dedication that'll get you noticed. You're not just hoping for the best, you're strategically planning your path.
Right, it's like packing a map and compass before you even head into the woods. That kind of proactivity speaks volumes.
Totally. So I took a peek at this career guide.
Hmm.
And honestly, it's not what I expected. It's not just about being able to, start a fire with sticks. There's this whole teaching aspect, which obviously makes sense, but I hadn't really considered how central that is to the role.
It's about so much more than just having those wilderness skills. It's
Yeah.
about conveying that knowledge, keeping people safe physically and mentally. And speaking of safety, the guide mentions wilderness first responder certification. It's becoming more and more important, especially for instructors leading those more challenging expeditions.
Wilderness first responder. Okay, that sounds serious. What does that even involve?
It's like, think advanced first aid and emergency response, but specifically tailored to the wilderness. Imagine you're miles from help dealing with anything from a sprained ankle to, I don't know, a snake bite.
Hmm.
It equips you with the skills to handle those situations, provide immediate care, make those critical decisions when it matters most.
Wow. Okay, so not just your average first aid course then. No wonder it's becoming so sought after.
Yeah.
So we've got the teaching side, the safety aspect, and of course the actual survival skills themselves.
Mhm.
But before you can even show them what you've got, you need to ace that interview.
Mm.
So let's jump into this interview guide. This is where it gets real.
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting. Remember, these interviewers aren't just looking for someone who can rough it in the woods. They want someone who can inspire, educate, and lead others safely and effectively. We're talking about a whole other level of expertise.
All right, hit me with it. What kind of questions are we talking about?
All right, picture this. You're sitting across from a panel of seasoned survival instructors, and they ask, what inspired you to pursue a career as a survival instructor? How would you even begin to approach that?
Okay, see, that's a great question because it seems so simple on the surface, right? But it's easy to stumble if you're not prepared.
Mhm.
It's not enough to just say, oh, I love being outdoors. They're looking for something deeper, something more.
Exactly. This is your chance to showcase your passion, highlight the experiences that shaped you. Show them you're not just in it for the thrill, but for the teaching and mentoring aspects too.
Would you recommend telling a story? Like a time you relied on your survival skills or something that really solidified your love for the outdoors. Would that be too much?
A story can be a powerful tool. It creates an emotional connection, makes your answer memorable, but keep it concise
Hmm.
and make sure it's actually relevant to the question. The last thing you want to do is ramble on about some random camping trip.
Right. And that's what I love about this interview guide. It gives you actual sample answers. It's one thing to talk about what makes a good answer, but seeing it in action is so helpful.
Absolutely. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI feedback comes in. Imagine practicing your answer, recording it, and getting personalized feedback based on actual interview data for survival instructor positions.
So you could test out different stories or ways of phrasing things and see what works best.
You got it. It's like having a personal coach helping you refine your delivery and content. It takes all the guesswork out of interview prep.
Wow, that's incredible. I see how that would be a game changer for anyone feeling nervous or unsure about their interviewing skills.
Confidence is key, and practicing with RoleCatcher can help you build that confidence. Walk into that interview feeling prepared and self-assured. Ready for anything. Ready for another one.
Hit me. I'm ready to tackle another question.
Okay, so let's say the interviewer follows up with something like, how do you tailor your instruction to meet the needs of different students?
Okay, that's a good one. It's showing they're looking for someone who understands that not everyone learns the same way,
Right.
especially in a survival setting where you could have people with all sorts of different experience levels.
Exactly. They want to know you can adapt, create a learning environment that works for everyone, from the seasoned hiker to someone who's never slept outside without a tent.
The career guide actually mentioned different learning styles. I remember something about visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners. How would you even apply that to survival training?
You're right. The guide has a whole section on this. For visual learners, you might use diagrams, demonstrations, maybe even have them map out a route. Auditory learners might respond better to clear verbal instructions, group discussions, maybe even incorporating some storytelling.
Okay, yeah, I'm a visual learner for sure. So
Yeah.
seeing a diagram or watching a demonstration would definitely help me grasp things quicker.
Right. And then for someone who's more auditory, hearing you explain the why behind a technique, connecting it to a story or a real life scenario, that can make all the difference.
So how do you actually answer that in an interview? You're not going to give them a whole lesson on learning styles, right?
Keep it concise, but make it count. I'd recommend mentioning the importance of recognizing different learning styles, but then focus on a specific example. A time when you adapted your teaching to help a student who was struggling.
Like maybe you had a student who just couldn't get the hang of building a fire, and you switched up your approach to incorporate more hands-on practice or visual aids, and that helped them finally succeed.
Exactly. It's all about showing them you can assess the situation, adapt, and ultimately create that positive learning experience for each student.
And I'm guessing this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI feedback could be super valuable.
100%. The AI can analyze your answer. See where you can strengthen your examples. Make sure you're using the right keywords. It's all about presenting yourself in the best possible light.
It's like having that extra set of eyes, helping you polish your responses.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm ready for a real curveball now. What else have you got?
All right, let's talk about the mental game of survival. How would you answer this? How do you handle the psychological stress of a survival situation?
Ooh, that's a good one. It gets at something so important. We've all seen those shows where things get pretty intense, and not just physically.
It's about staying calm under pressure, thinking clearly when everything seems chaotic,
Yeah.
and being able to instill that same resilience in your students.
The career guide talked about how survival situations can amplify existing fears and anxieties. So it's not just about the physical skills, right? It's about equipping them mentally and emotionally.
Exactly. And that's where understanding basic survival psychology comes in. Remember how the guide emphasized maintaining a positive mindset even when things are tough?
Yeah, things like controlling your breathing, focusing on small victories, using positive self-talk to stay motivated.
Those techniques aren't just for survival situations. They're valuable life skills anyone can benefit from.
So if you're asked that question in an interview, how do you convey both your understanding of the mental aspect and your ability to guide others through it?
You want to demonstrate that you understand the mental and emotional challenges of survival. Maybe talk about techniques you use to manage stress, like mindfulness or visualization. But you're also being assessed on your ability to teach these skills to others.
So instead of just saying, I tell them to breathe, you'd actually give a concrete example like, I guide my students through this breathing exercise to regulate their heart rate. Something like that.
Exactly. Give them specifics. Show them you've got actual techniques up your sleeve, not just vague ideas. And again, this is where RoleCatcher can be a game changer.
Because you could test out those examples, right? See how the AI responds based on the specific job description.
Exactly. You can even see if the company emphasizes things like teamwork or resilience in their values and tailor your answers accordingly. It's all about putting your best foot forward.
Okay, that's amazing. All right, let's keep going. Give me one more question to try.
Okay, well, let's talk risk management.
Yeah.
How would you answer this one? How do you ensure the safety of your students during survival training?
Okay, safety first.
Right.
Right. Especially when you're dealing with the wilderness. The career guide had some interesting stats on this. Apparently, sprains and strains are way more common than animal encounters, which I wouldn't have guessed.
It's true. We tend to focus on the more dramatic stuff. But honestly, those everyday injuries can be just as dangerous if you're not careful. That's why that solid understanding of first aid and risk assessment is non-negotiable.
And it's not even just about knowing what to do if something happens. It's about preventing it in the first place, right?
100%. When you answer this question, you want to show them you've got that proactive mindset. Talk about how you assess the environment, the safety protocols you establish, the steps you take to minimize risks every step of the way.
So you'd mention things like doing a gear check, giving safety briefings, making sure everyone stays hydrated and aware of their surroundings.
Exactly. The more specific, the better. Tell them about the safety equipment you use, the protocols you follow. Show them you're not just reciting from a textbook. You've got real-world experience.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Exactly. You want them to see that you're always thinking ahead, that you've got those contingency plans just in case.
And it's not just about physical safety either.
Yeah.
Right? Creating that supportive learning environment where everyone feels comfortable speaking up. That's huge.
Absolutely. It all ties back to what we were talking about before. Adapting your teaching style, building that trust, so everyone feels safe and respected.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the importance of teaching risk management, the mental aspect of survival. It's clear that being a survival instructor, it's not just a job, it's a calling.
Absolutely. And for those who are truly passionate about it, the career guide actually highlighted some really cool opportunities for growth, like becoming a lead guide or even starting your own adventure tourism business.
Oh, wow. Now those sound like dream jobs, leading expeditions. sharing your love for the outdoors with others. What an incredible path.
The possibilities are endless, especially if you're willing to specialize. The guide mentions some instructors who focus on things like desert survival or winter wilderness skills.
So much to explore. This has been amazing. Any final words of advice for our aspiring survival instructors out there as they get ready to embark on this journey?
Just remember this. Let that passion shine through. Be prepared. Be confident. Be yourself, and you'll go far.
Love that. And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there to help you every step of the way. It's like having your own personal career coach, providing personalized insights and feedback, helping you ace that interview and land your dream job. Good luck out there, everyone.